All right. Hi, I'm Valerie Parente, and I'm an author and a poet, and I just wanted to do some poetry readings here on YouTube, and I'm going to be looking at my collection, Rather Be Haunted. And I'm a big dummy and just made a video that was 20 minutes long, not realizing I was analyzing a poem that I've already put on YouTube, so the whole video had to be scrapped. So, start over. Going to pick poems that I have not read before and try to remember that I haven't read them before. All right. Ooh, what's that? No, we're not doing that. All right, let's see. I like to pick poems at random, so it's just gonna take me a second to randomly pick these. Oh, did I read this one? I'm questioning if I read this one before. I think I read this one before in a video that I didn't upload. I'm not gonna do that though. No. Okay, let's read Potential in Action. And this is the artwork that goes with it. It's hard to see on the video, so that's another benefit to buying the book. But if not, that's fine. I'll just read it to you. So, Potential in Action. To identify this catalyst felt right. I know that something special will happen. There's this lingering hope so well timed, like tangible potential in action. Magic hones the human existence, this sense diagnosed as divine intuition. We all can access its many promises if we make the decision to listen. Do not let your chance sweep by when you are met by the extrasensory. That realm of what could be for mankind stems from your instinct to detect destiny. Sorry, fumbled a little bit. So that's Potential in Action. And that is about, if I remember correctly, this was from March 2018. This is when something good happens and you have a really good feeling about it and its impact on your life. Sometimes that can be meeting someone and feeling that moment of, oh, I can tell this person's going to be important to me for a while, you know? So that's just an example, but I don't remember exactly what this action was that felt full of potential. But that's what that feeling was. It was about feeling like the universe had a reason and that I was able, like it says, that realm of what could be for mankind stems from your instinct to detect destiny. It felt like I could kind of feel destiny in front of me, feel how important this little action was. And like I said, I don't remember exactly what it was. I'm sure it had to do with human connection and feeling connected to somebody mentally. So that is kind of like the beginning of something good. That's what this is about. And it even says to identify this catalyst felt right. It felt like a catalyst. It didn't feel like just a moment. It felt like, oh, this is going to be the beginning of a really good course for me, a really good experience in all. Magic hones the human existence, this sense diagnosed as divine intuition. And again, when you feel that way, like, oh, this is going to be significant. That feeling, I think, is intuition, which is such a bizarre sense. And it does say extrasensory in here because it isn't one of the five senses, but intuition, I think, is like the sixth sense. Intuition is you have no rhyme or reason or logical reasoning behind knowing something, but you just know. And you feel it here. You feel it in your heart, in your soul. And that's why it says magic hones the human existence, this sense diagnosed as divine intuition. It is like magic, and we do each have it. I don't know how to control it, but I know I felt it before. We all can access its many promises, intuition, if we make decisions to listen. If we make the decision to listen. When you feel that weird, I just know, I don't have a logical reason, but I know when you feel that, it's important to listen. So this whole thing, potential in action, is about one of those moments that you just know is going to go down in history. It's very important in your life. All right, what else can we read? I know I'm taking a moment. I made a video yesterday in honor of my dog passing, because it was the anniversary of my dog Abby passing, and I read 3 or 4 poems about that experience of loss, and I did not post it because it was way too emotional and I fell apart during it. And as much as I really wanted to post it, I didn't want people to think like I was exploiting the pain by posting, me being teary-eyed and trying to, struggle through reading these poems. I might end up posting it later, but I am going to skip the ones about death because I might be posting that video at some point where I do read almost all of the poems about that loss. So I'm just like skipping over these. Old Soul, did we read this one? I feel like I might have. We're gonna skip it then, just in case. Oh, how about Good Grief? Good Grief. Okay, this is one that I actually didn't read yesterday. Okay, Good Grief. It's strange how sympathy only lasts so long before people move on. And I'm not saying we should live our lives based on what we have lost, but good grief, my pain still feels so fresh. Meanwhile, everyone else seems to forget. Maybe one day my heart will no longer be broken in half, but the scar that heals over is a mark that will always last. And people say I'm too sensitive. People say someday I'll mend again. But I can't believe any other person truly understands the pain I'm in. Yes, I understand that the shock wears off in time, but it's hard to let go with a mind like mine. And if healing means leaving her image behind, then I guess all I want is to be scarred for life. All right, that poem is about loss, obviously. It was about my dog specifically. This just got kind of blurry. It was about my dog specifically, and it was written on September 23rd. She passed on, actually exactly a month before that, August 23rd of 2019. And this was realizing, Good Grief was realizing when you lose someone and, a lot of your loved ones and friends and family come to you and reach out and say they're there for you or say they're sorry for your loss, you feel, there's that whole, you get caught up in the whirlwind of the attention and other people sympathizing for you right when the loss happens. And this was me realizing a month later, you know what? Other people have already forgotten. The other people in my life aren't thinking about this anymore. And that's where it starts by, it says, it's strange how sympathy only lasts so long. And that's okay. That's not a complaint or anything. That's how it should be for the other people who didn't experience the actual loss. For me, it's still there. A month isn't a long time too, but still, people kind of after a week, it's not really talked about anymore. People aren't really reaching out to you about it because it's just, the sympathy only lasts so long. People can't be dwelling on it forever, and I'm not saying we should live our lives based on what we have lost, but good grief, my pain still feels so fresh. Meanwhile, everyone else seems to forget. Yeah, it's a weird feeling when you see the world go on, after you have that loss, and you watch as the world keeps turning, and everybody else seems okay, but to you, this is still so fresh. It never stops feeling fresh, to be perfectly honest. As I'm saying, a year later, it's on my mind all the time, but it's weird to come to terms with the fact that it's not on anyone else's mind, not in the way that it is in my head. And that's just what it means to exist. You know, nobody else is in your head but you. I'm feeling what I'm feeling, and you're never going to be able to totally understand that. I can write all I want, but nobody's going to experience my human experience but me in this way. So let's read some more lines. Maybe one day my heart will no longer be broken in half, but the scar that heals over is a mark that will always last. That's self-explanatory. That's true. The hurt doesn't last forever, but the scar is still there. People say I'm too sensitive. People say I'll mend again, but I can't believe any other person truly understands the pain I'm in. Well, that's like, I think this, when I read this now, I don't know about when it was written, this just feels like commentary on my OCD and my brain getting caught on loops. And I'm a very emotional and sensitive person, and people say I'm way too sensitive and take things way too seriously, and nobody else, when someone hurts me, it's not even that they knew they were hurting me. I'm just too sensitive. I just am making something out of what was nothing to this person. So I'm thinking of my obsessive nature of just, I can't stop thinking about that emotion that I'm in. So people say I'm too sensitive and that someday I'll mend again. But I can't believe any other person truly understands the pain I'm in. That's a weird feeling when you lose someone. It's like, there's no way somebody else gets this. This feels so particular to me. This is so raw. How does somebody else experience this in the world with another person and have it be anywhere near like the pain that I'm feeling? I mean, I think other people feel the pain. You're never going to know for sure. You can only be yourself. And then truly, so yes, I understand that the shock wears off in time, but it's hard to let go with a mind like mine. Again, OCD. That's a reference to OCD and my sensitivity. And if healing means leaving her image behind, then I guess all I want is to be scarred for life. And that's what it really is about, right? When you lose someone, you kind of feel like you owe it to them to be in pain. I'm not saying that's a rational thought, but you kind of feel like it's a mark of remembering them if you continue to have this pain. And you choose, do I want to forget who this image of this person or pet? Do I want to forget this person? Or do I want to remain broken and, as it says, scarred for life? And this really goes with the title, Rather Be Haunted. This is another testament to the title, this sentiment of, I guess all I want is to be scarred for life. I would rather be haunted. I would rather be in pain. I would rather have the darkness. I would rather have the human experience. I would rather have the emotions. I would rather have the sensitivity than, than not feel. And in this case, then lose the image of this girl that's gone, my pet. I'd rather be scarred. If I had a choice between forgetting her completely, which would mean no more pain, and being scarred for life, I would choose being scarred for life. And this kind of goes with the poem I read earlier. I made a video earlier and I was dumb enough to think that I didn't read that poem already in a YouTube video, but I did, so I had to scrap it. But I was talking earlier about my poem, This Is What It Means to Grow Up, and how I really do think the root of almost all of your pain stems from the linear passage of time, that there's a past, a present, and a future. The fact that things cease to be, that every single thing that happens, good and bad, becomes a memory. And I think that's the root of a lot of pain. And that's why we have loss. That's why there's death, because nothing lasts forever. And there's this passage of things pass, people pass, pets pass. But that, I think, goes with this whole concept too of, I really think like a big part of this, yes, I understand the shock wears off in time, but it's hard to let go with a mind like mine. A lot of pain, like I said, comes from that, something was, but it is not that case anymore. And the missing comes from that. And that is also why this is called good grief, because it is grief, which is horrible, but we're going to call it good grief, not just because that's a phrase that people say, it's kind of, a compliment to that phrase, but also because grief is, I really do think, good. Makes you human. It's part of this experience. All right, let's read one more. And let's try not to take forever to find it. What do you guys think? These are so personal that it's so hard for me. Playing with storms, and in parentheses, diagnose me. So it's called Playing with Storms, Diagnose Me. And this is the beautiful mannequin that goes with it. All right. Playing with storms. I've got 5 different disorders, and I can't afford to be diagnosed with another. But ever since the grief, I feel like my brain has spawned a new monster. My emotions are so intense, and I freak out, then repent. People ask me why I acted out, and I honestly can't remember why. I remember doing the deed, but I don't remember why I felt it was necessary. All I remember is that I truly believed in the feeling's intensity. And I played with thunderous storms, even though I don't even like the noise. And I think that's pretty scary when you can go 25 years understanding the string between your actions and emotions, then suddenly don't remember why you did something so intense. It's like you're sitting in a back seat watching yourself. There's a barrier between you and what you do, a major disconnect. And I can't even begin to try to figure out why. I just know that my mind has become so hard to find. I've got 5 other disorders that I understand inside and out, but I don't understand the reasoning behind this new rage-filled spree. It would be so much easier to address this if someone could just diagnose me. Please just diagnose this storm inside of me, because then I can begin to master the storms artfully. Okay, this goes with a lot of what I talk about in The Artist, the Muse, too. This is as an artist who uses their pain and emotions and mental disorders to influence their art and create. This is about, I know when this was written in January of 2020, I was having a hard time with my work life, and I was very intense and angry about certain things that, and I did act out in ways that when I was confronted and said, well, why'd you do that? Why were you so mad? Why did you feel the need to lash out like this? And I thought about it, and I was like, I don't really remember. I don't remember why. I don't remember what the event that catalyzed this was, but I do remember I believed what I felt. And it was very intense. I was very mad at certain people, at certain situations, and I didn't question where it was coming from. I just believed that my anger was justified. So, and I'm not saying it wasn't, because there was some drama, but at this time, but it's weird when you can't even understand when someone asks you why you acted a certain way and you can't even answer them. And that's where it says, I think it's pretty scary that you can go 25 years of understanding the string between your actions and emotions, then suddenly don't remember why you did something so intense. It is scary when someone asks you why you reacted a certain way and you don't know why. That's freaky. And as someone, and it says I've got 5 different disorders, as someone who has multiple things going on, OCD, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, as someone who has multiple things going on, all I kept feeling was, dear God, am I bipolar? Is there something else wrong with me? Am I gonna add another disorder to the list? That was scary. And there was a sense of, okay, just diagnose me already. Just diagnose me so that I can figure out and I can work through this. Once I have a name for it, help me work through this. Because that's how I felt once I got when you get diagnosed with something, like when I got diagnosed with OCD and an eating disorder, it felt so validating. It felt like, oh, I'm not making this up in my head. This really is a biochemical problem that's happening. And I really am reacting to something that I can't control, or I haven't been able to in the past. So there, especially in eating disorder is a certain circumstance where you want to be diagnosed, at least from my experience, because the validation feels like, it feeds the whole point. when someone has anorexia, they don't tend to believe that they have it. They tend to be in denial. For me, I guess I should talk from just my point of view. I truly was in denial because I felt like I was still fat. I didn't feel skinny enough, never felt good enough, constantly felt like I needed to lose weight, which is the disorder in itself. But when you finally have someone say, oh no, you're anorexic, it's horrible. But at the time, it was a huge compliment because it meant my suffering wasn't in vain. There was a name to this. I am actually experiencing this disorder. I didn't make it up in my head. It is really happening. So there's a relief when you get diagnosed with certain things. And it's probably that way with things that aren't mental disorders too. Physical disorders, you see those programs where people are undiagnosed forever and they can't find, there's some mystery medical problem with them, and their life is hell. Mentally, it's hell, not knowing what's wrong with them and not having any answers from any doctors. So, you know, the concept of being diagnosed is so relieving. And that's what this is, talking about playing with storms, because this whole experience at the time of my life, I was just so filled with rage and mad and acting out all the time, alcohol, personal relationships, just being angry, lashing out at people, playing with the storms inside of me. Just wanted an explanation. And let's see, is there anything else I should dissect here? Specific lines. People ask me why I acted out, and I honestly can't remember why. Yep, mentioned that. Oh, I like this line. I played with thunderous storms, even though I don't even like the noise. Isn't that weird? This is weird that I'm saying that it's thundering right now, too. But anyways, isn't that weird when you're like, you just feed into this thing that you hate. I hate when people are causing problems and being dramatic. You know, it comes from like this. One of the things that annoys me more than anything else is hypocrisy, and I try so hard not to be a hypocrite. I try so hard not to hate on things that I see in myself, but obviously I do, because that's how people are. But it's so hypocritical and weird when you're like one thing I hate when you hate, or you have guy friends and you hate when a girl plays with his emotions, and then I go out and I do something that is reminiscent of playing with someone's emotions, which I hate to say that I've ever done, but of course I have at some point. I'm not thinking of a particular instance, but it's that whole thing of I'm doing this thing, I'm playing with the thunder, and I don't even like the noise. I don't even like doing this. And that was the whole mystery of this, and why I was like, please diagnose me. That's why it's this subtitle is Diagnose Me. It's like, what am I doing? Why am I acting out so much? It's all about acting out and not understanding it, and just saying at the end, please just diagnose me so that I can artfully deal with this and make art out of it and understand where this is coming from. So this was a lot of anger about a situation, and I am happy to say that anger went away once I got out of the situation. I don't think it was its own mental disorder added on top of my other 5 ones. I think it was just circumstantial, and I was in a very toxic situation, so I'm glad that once I went out, I realized that's why I was so intense and angry. Even though my thoughts were jumbled and I couldn't remember why I was so angry about certain instances, it did stem from a real reality on the outside and not just something crazy I was making up in the inside. All right, so that's that. These are getting hard to read because there are so many that are so upsetting, and I keep skipping over the upsetting ones to read to you guys, so maybe someday I'll be able to do that, but right now it's just gonna remain a little lighter, and it's still pretty heavy. All right, thank you. And if you want to buy Rather Be Haunted, it's on Amazon, and feel free to check out my website. I have a shop there where you can also find the links to the books if you have a hard time searching it. So my website is just my name. It's valerieparente.com. It used to be valerieparente.wordpress.com, but I was able to upgrade my account, and now it's just valerieparente.com. And if you do look up the old link, it'll still go to the same site. It'll bring you to the correct site. All right? Thank you. Bye.